let's jump straight into the thick of it. We're talking about the dawn of 2026. And amidst all the usual tech buzz, something really interesting is happening in the world of indoor positioning, specifically with Bluetooth AOA. The star of our show today is this little box, the GA30 from YueYiheng's. They're calling it wireless, all network compatible, and wiring free. Sounds like a mouthful, but trust me, it's about to change how we think about being located inside buildings. Now, before we get too excited about fancy tech, let's talk about the real-world headache that makes this innovation so timely: copper prices. Remember those? They went absolutely bonkers. We're talking a 25% jump. In places like Shenzhen's Huaqiangbei, you can see it on the price tags. A 305-meter roll of decent network cable is creeping up towards 500 yuan. That's about 1.64 yuan per meter, and guess what? It's 0.34 yuan more expensive per meter than just 2 years ago. Let's put some numbers on that pain. For a big auto factory rolling out a positioning system, that extra cost, just for the cables, could be an extra 170,000 yuan. Ouch. And get this, a major hospital deploying 300 base stations found that the sheer cost of running the pipes and pulling the wires ate up a whopping 42% of their entire budget. Now GA30 comes along, and because it's wireless, it completely sidesteps this massive cost driver. In that same hospital scenario, they slashed that labor cost down to 29%. But it's not just about saving money on the balance sheet. Think about a logistics park hit by a typhoon. With traditional wired systems, you might have dozens of broken lines to find and fix. GA30? Wireless means no broken wires to hunt down. That's peace of mind, and save time, right when you need it most. Okay, so we've solved the wiring nightmare, but there's another layer of cleverness here. This all-network compatible thing. Back in the day, if you wanted your device to connect via 4G, Wi-Fi, or Ethernet, you'd probably just slap different modules onto your board. Simple, right? Well, GA30 does something much smarter. It uses what's called software-defined radio, or SDR. Imagine, instead of having separate radio antennas and front ends for each network type, you have one super flexible radio that software tells how to behave for different networks. This isn't just clever engineering, it's powerful. Think about a subway train zipping through a tunnel, a classic signal blind spot. With a traditional setup, you might lose connection, lose data, maybe even lose track of your asset. But GA30, using SDR, can switch seamlessly between available networks like 4G, Wi-Fi, whatever's strongest, in under 800 milliseconds. That's fast enough to keep the positioning data flowing smoothly, zero loss. And it gets better. This design philosophy also allows them to peek ahead. They've already done pre-research on 5G frequencies. In Zhengzhou, they actually used a spare 4 GHz band that the operator wasn't fully utilizing to create a dedicated high-quality channel just for positioning. Talk about making the most of what's available. Now, let's talk about what happens when you cram a lot of things trying to talk at once into a small space. Imagine a busy electronics factory floor with 200 automated guided vehicles, AGVs, zipping around. If you use a traditional system, all those AGVs sending their location data back to a central server simultaneously? Chaos. The wireless channels get congested, and suddenly, your fancy positioning system starts drifting. We're talking up to 2.3 meters off. That's not great for robots that need to know exactly where they are. Enter GA30's Edge Computing Module. This is where the magic happens. It's not just passively collecting data, it's actively processing it right there on the base station. They've got an AI scheduling algorithm that helps manage the flow, and a really cool technique they call data slimming. Think of it like this. Instead of sending back every single raw piece of data, the base station intelligently figures out the essential location fingerprint, the key information needed for precise positioning. It handles 80% of the data processing locally. The result? Positioning accuracy drops dramatically, down to just 0.5 to 1 meter error. And the network traffic plummets from 1.2 gigabytes per day per base station down to a mere 180 megabytes. SF Express engineers were blown away by this. Doing the math for their scale of 500 base stations, they could save a staggering 870,000 yuan annually just on network fees. That's some serious ROI. So, GA30 isn't just a standalone box. It's becoming a hub for innovation. YueYiheng has this open lab, and it's buzzing with activity. You've got medical robot companies testing how tightly GA30 can sync with their surgical navigation systems, critical stuff. Then you have retail giants figuring out how to use the signal strength, RSSI, from these devices to figure out how much stock is left on a shelf without needing cameras everywhere. It's like turning the airwaves into inventory sensors. And here's a fun one. In a mall in Hangzhou, they discovered that GA30's positioning base stations actually made perfect beacons for augmented reality navigation. Why? Because its timestamp accuracy, how precisely it knows when a signal arrived, was way better 0.5 seconds than typical Wi-Fi devices. This isn't just about finding where something is, it's about enabling new interactions. The company's CTO even mentioned they're building a positioning as a service model. Think of it like cloud services, but for location data. Partners could potentially tap into the processing power of these base stations directly via APIs to build their own cool applications. It's moving beyond just selling hardware to creating an ecosystem. So, looking back from this New Year's Day in 2026, it's clear Bluetooth AOA isn't just a niche tech anymore. It's evolving into the very nerve endings of spatial intelligence. The real story of GA30 isn't just the specs on a datasheet, it's about the tangible changes happening everywhere. Think about wheelchair patients navigating a hospital with sub-meter accuracy, or robots in a warehouse working together seamlessly without bumping into each other, or museum visitors getting an AR experience that truly understands their presence. These aren't sci-fi dreams, they're happening now. By ditching the physical constraints of network cables, location services are becoming incredibly flexible, weaving themselves into the fabric of our digital lives. The Hexen story is just the beginning. The real excitement, the next chapters are waiting to be written by everyone who picks up this technology and starts building something amazing.